Hi and welcome along to the Supporters Club. I'm standing in today for Turkish, big up Turkish, and I've got a great panel where we're going to be discussing today, can we trust Josh Kroenke? Very interesting question. If I'd have asked this about 6 months ago, we wouldn't even have done a show on it because everybody would have said, no, Robbie, what, trust him. But certain things have happened. So I really want to discuss it, and we've got a great panel today. We got Jordan. Jordan, of course, you would have heard. Congratulations to you, Jordan, because I know you're doing some big things at the moment.
Thank you very much.
You've got a show on Talk Sport.
Thank you.
All the stuff you do on Channel 4 and that, brilliant.
Thank you, mate.
All right, we've got Deluded Gooner.
Thanks for having me, man.
Why they call you Deluded Gooner, man? Because you ain't deluded. That's what I can never figure out.
Listen, it's a story that I'll tell you one day, man. It's a mad story, man. I can't lie.
Go on, hold on, wait. We've got a bit of time.
We do have a bit of time. In short, it was basically playing Xbox Live a couple of years ago, and I needed to make a Gmail account, and I ran with that. I made a YouTube account with that. Just ran with it, and we're here today, Robbie, man. Really.
Oh, cool. Because you're not deluded. I always like.
I heard he thought Wenger win the treble. That's what I heard.
Guy's trying to slander me.
We got someone who is deluded now. Everybody knows Lee Judges. Congratulations, Lee, with a new show with Kevin Campbell.
Yes, yeah, brilliant.
I was going through the comments for that show. Unbelievable, man.
Absolutely, like the love we've got over it, and it's been absolutely breathtaking. We never thought we were going to get that sort of positive feedback. I'll be honest, we thought a little bit of negativity, but we haven't got none. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, and the way you give the views from a fan's point of view, and Kev's giving it from a real footballer's point of view, or ex-footballer, should we say? It's been brilliant, really.
Yeah, it seems to work, and I think people want to see that. People still want to know what the professional footballer or ex-professional footballer's got to say, but people want to hear what the fans have got to say as well. So we've mixed it together, and it looks like it's been a good combination.
No, it's been brilliant. Well, listen. So the question that I want to ask today is, as I said at the top of the show, can we trust Josh Kroenke? Actually, can we trust the Kroenkes? Because like Josh Kroenke is obviously representing his dad. His dad is still the person that owns 100% of Arsenal Football Club. As I said months ago, we wouldn't even have done this show because we knew we'd all know what the answer was. But things have happened throughout the summer. They've bought in players. It's been an excellent transfer window. There seems to be a structure in place where, they're organising things behind the scenes. Josh Kroenke even said during the summer, he goes, be patient. We've made a lot of changes to literally every department at Arsenal, and it's going to take time with these changes. And as I said, after the really good transfer window, pulling off a coup in getting Nicolas Pepe, Ceballos was a great signing, David Luiz. He said get excited. Fans have got excited. Jordan, are you trusting the Kroenkes now?
Good question. It is a good question. I'm a person that generally likes to. I'm not one of these people that believes in the whole show me trust and I will trust you back. As an instinct, if I meet you for the first time, I'll generally trust you until you do something to make me distrust you. So personally, yes, because this is kind of my first real experience as a fan, dealing, albeit from afar, with Josh Kroenke. What makes it difficult is that he's part of the Kroenkes, where there's obviously a lot of distrust between the fan base and the family. Now, without trying to judge a man on his father's actions, which is a little bit harsh, I think we still have to bear in mind this is father and son, and they won't be thinking too far apart in terms of what they want for Arsenal. So on the face of it, yeah, I'll give him a chance. But I'm also very aware that for how many years now, best part of a decade, the family of the Kroenkes have given us plenty of examples to not trust them. This summer was a good summer. I don't subscribe to the idea that it was a great transfer window. It was a good transfer window.
With limited funds, though. With limited funds.
Says who? That's what they said, but I don't know if that was just something they put out
there. Obvious there was limited funds, isn't it? Well, you can see by the amount of money that's been spent.
Yeah, or was it a ploy to make people think that we've got little money so they can get a couple of things done, and then before you know it, we spent up nearly 100 mil, whatever we did.
Okay, out of all the teams in the Premier League, who would you say had the best transfer window?
Personally, I think Leicester, and I'll tell you why. I know they ended up losing Maguire in the end, but they got an incredible amount of money for someone who I feel he's worth half the 90 mil, 80 mil they spent for us. They got a great deal for him. But sometimes the transfer window, and this is what Arsenal fans don't always understand, sometimes a great transfer window is about who you keep, not necessarily who you sign. And they kept their 2 fullbacks, which I don't know why no one was in for Pereira. I want him at Arsenal. The left back Chilwell, they kept him. They signed Tielemans, who again I would have loved at Arsenal. Was a top player, I think he will be. And they kept Ndidi as well. So they kept their best players when traditionally a team like Leicester would have got picked off by the bigger clubs. And they add to that 85 million for Maguire, who's a good centre back. I don't think he's anywhere near that. So I think they probably had the best transfer window in terms of what they brought in and what they ended up keeping.
Okay, Deluded. Do you trust the Kroenkes?
I mean, specific to Josh, I mean, he's given me reasons to trust him. When I heard all the talk of be excited and things at the time, like every Arsenal fan, I was pessimistic. We've been down this road before with a lot of talk. But like you said, he followed through. And for me, away from the signings, I wanted to see communication from the top level to our fans at some level. We're never going to know the intricate dealings and what they're truly dealing with. But Arsenal fans, we haven't heard anything, and our club hasn't been the way we've wanted it to be. And it's just added to the uncertainty. So for me, I could say I can trust him, but it's a case of do we start as we mean to go on sort of thing. Only time will tell as to what we're trying to do. Like you alluded to at the beginning, there's been a lot of change in several departments, and it's not just on Josh. As much as we're sitting here and he's the topic, I need to see what Edu's doing, what Raul Sanye's doing, which he has been doing a great job. It's down to them to keep it going. But in terms of the intent, be excited, and he gave a segment into regards to how he was feeling about the Europa League final, I believe. He's saying what fans need to hear. You can feel emotion in what he's saying. So I have.
You believe all the things he said?
I mean, I take your words at face value. Again, the future is what we're going to have to decide it on, basically. But you've given me nothing you're doing things to make me agree with you and at least give you my time of day until you do something which makes me change my mind, to be fair with you, Robbie.
Okay. I know you've been moaning and groaning over the past couple of years about the Kroenkes, and when this thing came out, where they said the petition, they put it on the Kroenkes and they said we want you to show us that you really care. They're under a lot of pressure at that time. Now Josh Kroenke's come out and said that really have nothing to do with it. We had our plan right from the start of the summer. That had nothing to do with it. We were working behind the scenes. Do you believe him when he says that? Do you believe that none of the pressure from the fans and that petition, various different platforms, going in on them, had nothing to do with it? And that they had a plan all along?
No one really knows, do they, Robbie? But I'd like to think that it did have an influence on them, because if it did have an influence on them, it shows that they do care a little bit. That's how I look at it. I look at Josh. We call him Josh, Mr. Kroenke. I want to dislike him, Robbie. I want to dislike him, but at this moment,
why? Why do you want to dislike him?
Well, because of what's gone on in the past and everything like that. But I'm begrudgingly warming to him. You know what I mean? I'm kind of liking him, and I kind of want to trust him. I want to believe what he's saying. I thought he come out of a great quote when he turned around and said, with the fans, I've got to earn their trust, and we will do. And so he's saying all the right things, I'll be honest, when he come out and said, let's be excited, I didn't believe it, but he come through with his word, if I be honest. As I say, most 95% of the fans are excited about what's going on. I have to say that going over to the Emirates for the opening game of the season against Burnley, it was, I don't know if you felt it as well, it was a different kind of atmosphere.
It was a buzz, wasn't it?
It was a buzz, yeah, there was a buzz. There was a buzz outside the ground, inside the ground. I've gone to games against Burnley and it's been quiet for most of the game, but it was noisy during the game, and there was a sense of excitement. And I feel from a fan over the last few years, and it's like been a bit of a chore going to Arsenal, because you know what's coming, you know that they're not going to get to what you want them to do. Whether we will do or not, no one knows at this moment in time. But I felt like, for the first time, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going to Anfield on Saturday. Now, has Josh Kroenke done that for me? I don't know. But at this moment in time, there seems to be some direction, and the fans are enjoying it, Robbie. And that's all we can ask for. And do I trust him? Not at this moment in time, 100%. Do I want to trust him? Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay.
I think it's a good point about the fact that the start of the season, they've given us hope. The last 4, 5, 6 seasons, we've started the season knowing full well
What's going to happen?
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if you get halfway to the season, it all collapses, or it's the critical part and it collapses. That's one thing. If there's nothing there from the get-go to get excited about, that's really, really disheartening as a fan at the start of a season. This year, we don't know what's going to happen. We may finish 4th, we may finish 8th. We don't know. But at least we started the season thinking like, you know what? Some new players, we've got a fancy new kit, you know what I mean? You know, we've got a little spring in us. We might get smashed on Saturday, 6-0 and reality kicks in again. But at least you start the season with a little bit of optimism. And I agree, I wasn't at the game against Burnley, but I heard similar things. There was an energy around the stadium outside of fans like, you know what? We're looking forward to this season. And that's important. Give the fans something to at least start the year hopeful of.
I think that also helps Emre as well, because if you look, because if you look at it, Emre said when he first came over in his tenure, the fans need to all be on the same page and things. And if Kroenke, at least for now, is doing that with the signings and whatever, then we're more likely to replicate that sort of energy to the fans, to the players, and whatnot, and then it will put us in a good state. We need to all be together with the players, the fans, and the backroom staff, because we have a massive job on. So I think it helps Emre do his job. He's got a lot of coaching and all of these sort of things to fix up in the team and whatnot. But if we're all on the same page, at least for now, like you said, at Anfield, it could be a different story, but it's a good thing, surely, because Arsenal fans have been fractured for a while.
Is Josh Kroenke just a good politician?
Possibly.
You know, you see some guys come out.
He looks clean and he speaks well.
And they come and they say some stuff, and you think, yeah, man.
But he has delivered to a certain degree.
That's the main thing.
I get, and I do get that, and I do believe that we all think that. Well, I don't know, but he did come out and say he was going to do this, Robbie, and he's come out and done it. You know, with the Pepe deal, whether it's over instalments or not, you know, they got that deal done. How many times have we, you know, been hoping to get someone signed and then it doesn't happen? You have to give credit where credit's due on that side, whether it's begrudgingly or it is open. You know, that's the fans' opinion. You know, we're all different, but you know, at this moment in time, I still, as I say, you know, I think he's come out. There's no need for him, by the way, to come out and do that interview, was there? You know, when has that ever happened?
But I just get the feeling.
Silent stand, they called him, didn't they?
Yeah, I get the feeling, Lido, is that they're kind of learning from their mistakes on this. Because in the past, I've actually been at like a AGM where somebody stood up and said to Stan, listen, what's the plan? That's all we want to know. What are you planning to do with this? They never said nothing. And then nothing ever came out afterwards. It was just, we plan to win. We want to win trophies. But there was didn't look like there was a plan in place. This time it feels a bit different because, I don't know if you guys think, there seems to be, like you said, there seems to be a backup to the talk because there seems to be a plan.
But it's step one. This summer and bringing in the people that he brought in was step one. Where his job really now becomes valid and where it's important is that he needs to now be setting up deals for next summer. So he needs to have a plan of who we're going to bring in if we don't get top 4, and a plan of people who we bring in if we do get top 4.
But I actually think this is step 2. I think there's step 1. Now I don't know whether this was Gazidis who put step 1 into place.
Easy.
Or if it were, well, let's discuss this, right? Because we might have
step
to like.
1 was him leaving, Robbie.
Might have to like Gazidis. We might have to like Gazidis as well on this, right? Because
no.
Hold on. Step 1 for me was going out there and replacing the old system that we had, which was basically Arsene Wenger and Gazidis and Dick Law.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Who did all the transfers and all the deals and stuff like that. Tearing that all up, replacing Arsene Wenger with a new manager, replacing Dick Law with this whole new team of Sanelli, Vinay, Edu. You see that they're doing things different. They're even dealing with agents that once upon a time they would never ever
knew they weren't coming
have gone anywhere near. So that was step 1. Step 2 is this window, going into the transfer window. The word they kept using all the time was we've been aggressive. Aggressive. He used that word a lot of times in his statement when what he did with David Ornstein in that interview. And it's a thing that we've been calling for years. We want to see them being aggressive. They've been the Pepe thing was aggressive.
Yeah.
Because he's about to sign for Napoli. And they managed to get him to come and sign for them. That's an aggressive move. David Luiz is aggressive. You know, Chelsea icon. They managed to bring him over to Arsenal. Even Ceballos is quite aggressive. A lot of other clubs, Tottenham, all they're interested in him. Saliba, a lot of clubs interested in him. They got him. Tierney was aggressive. Because they basically said to Celtic, well, here's the money on, you know, we're not going no higher than 25 mil, and we'll wait out till the end of the transfer window, and we're confident we'll get our guy. So I think that's step one and step two. So they're kind of a bit further along the line than maybe we think.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. But yeah, the next phase now is looking at the long-term plan. If there's one thing to learn from Manchester City and Liverpool, is that success doesn't just happen just overnight. There was years put in before to form and mould the team and backroom staff that ultimately brought those two clubs success. And even Tottenham, to a lesser degree, their improvement hasn't just happened as a coincidence. There's been planning that's been put in place by hierarchical figures to ensure they can maintain being a top four team. They haven't won anything, but there's definite progress. He now has to basically put a plan in place for the next 2, 3, 4 years. He has to back up now, because we need a centre-back, in my opinion, still for the long term. I know Saliba's coming in next year, but as we discussed on the last show we did with Turkish, he will drown if he's not next to an established proper centre-back. So can he next year, identify a proper centre-back, not David Luiz, a proper centre-back that Saliba can learn off?
Seems to have a problem with David
Luiz. I'm not buying this. It's a great signing. I'm just not.
It's for 8 million quid.
Yeah, but if once again, it's Chelsea's pocket seconds. Yeah. Second of all, if Frank Lampard, who can't buy anyone, is letting go of a senior pro, that should say something. They can't replace him, but yet he let him go.
But that's the same logic. You could say that about Michy Batshuayi. He hasn't been in the last 2 match squads, and you could argue.
But I bet he plays at some point this year. They've
yeah,
still
he
got
will,
him.
because he'll be forced to.
But they've still got him.
Point, but that's not fair, man.
David Luiz will score a free kick for us, and it'll be great. He'll score a couple of 30-yarders, and it'll be great. Over the course of the season, I don't see a significant improvement in our defence. And also, signing David Luiz says to me he'll play a back three more often. I hate a back three. Back three is lazy.
If you, as part of your plan, you have your heart set on certain players and you can't get them at the time, we know what the transfer market's like. Getting David Luiz. I mean, come on, David Luiz. I know you weren't a fan of David Luiz. Getting David Luiz for 8 million quid. Come on, you can't argue with that, can you?
I think that's good business, because I believe there is a certain thing with Arsenal now, is that they can't get who they want. So, like, okay, we can't get him this season, so we're putting someone short term, but the long term is we're still going to go for that man. Now, if they do that, then that's fantastic. I think David Luiz, I've said it before, if Koscielny would have stayed, I don't think we'd have got David Luiz. I think that is a replacement for Koscielny, but I think there is the one out there that we will go and get. And
is he better than Koscielny?
Well, listen, I think he is, because one, I think that he's more of a leader. If I'll be honest, he's won more trophies than Koscielny, and also his body's not given up like it had with Koscielny. You know, so I think we have slightly improved on that. Robbie, when was the last time you see a central defender bully a centre forward? I've not seen it over Arsenal for a very, very long time, and he went and done that on Saturday. So I think there's a plus there. And you also have to say with Josh Kroenke, on that interview, he turned around and said we are looking at January, you know, to maybe go and buy someone. Now we all know that the January transfer window for an Arsenal fan is just January. It's just the boring after Christmas.
I don't remember January. The time we was pretty excited we've got Kim Kallstrom.
Well, exactly. You know, before anybody goes down, we actually bought Aubameyang in that deal, but that was because of the Sanchez.
We lost Alexis.
So don't go. That was, you know, reacting to something that a complete and utter mess before. I'm talking about going in there with a plan in January and saying, do you know what? We're in this certain position here. If we go and get these two guys here, that could get us to wherever we want to be.
I mean, how many times in January would we all be like, we need a DM, we need a defensive midfielder. And we've not gone and done it. We can win the league, or we can get in the.
So he's already come out 2 games into the season
and signalled an intention
that we are looking at January, not necessarily going to do nothing, but if we can try and get that guy that we couldn't perhaps get in the summer, we're going to be looking in January. It's also telling that club, do you know what I mean, that we couldn't get your man in the summer, but we're going to come back in January, and if we can't get him in January, we'll come back next summer aggressive. And I you know, if that is the way he's going, I'm happy.
And that will get my trust. If he's looking at getting deals done in January in the summer, because Luiz shouldn't be a long term. That should not be a long term.
I don't think it is, though, is it?
I hope it's not. So if he's thinking, okay, Luiz may fill a gap for a year, 18 months, I can maybe come on board with that. As long as simultaneously he's looking at the guy he really wants in January or in the summer. That for me would get my trust with Kroenke, because it says to me, not only is he backing his chat now, he's got a long-term plan for
projection
the club.
sort of thing. Yeah.
And then the onus then falls on to Unai Emery to do his bit.
Well, you know what?
Get us top 4 and then we'll back you again.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you this, Deluded, yeah? Has this now put the pressure on Unai Emery? Because, you know, it's very easy for a chant to start up in the ground. We want Kroenke out, we want and all that. Kroenke's now delivered. Said, all right.
So now it's on Emery.
I've did what the best I could this summer. Here.
What can you do?
Now, Unai, get us in that top 4. If we don't get the top 4 this season, what do you think will happen to it?
It's a difficult one. And it's one that you've got to look at from both sides. On one hand, he might not necessarily. I don't think it will correlate with losing his job, because when he came to this club with Edu and all these other backgrounds, there must have been a plan from someone in regards to where we're going to be in year 1 to year 2 to year 3 and 4. And we all know it's going to take time with several members.
They said last year they wanted to be in the top 4.
Yeah.
Now they've given him tools now.
And that's why I think the pressure's on, because as much as we talk about the backdrop of what we've seen or haven't seen by other people, at the end of the day, what we do on a football pitch dictates where we go as a football club. And I do think there's questions to be asked of Emery, how he sets up offensively at times. First and foremost, defensively. He hasn't got any first choice options of sorts. Yes, Saliba's next season. We've got Turney to come, but we've still got to improve defensively. We've got to be able to go away to grounds like Anfield, ironically, and walk away with something respectable. Personally, when we look at the Anfield game, I expect to put in a positive performance, but in the event we lose, we can't keep losing by cricket scores and things like that. So he won't have a leg to stand on. Like you said, he's given him X, Y, Z, he's given you tools. Emery knew a big part of this position was going to be, can you coach players, can you improve players? We're not going to be able to do what City do. So he's not really going to have a leg to stand on, in my opinion, as well, if he doesn't deliver in May. So it's a tough one, man.
If you was in charge, you're Josh, or Stan, yeah? If he don't get top 4 end of the season, would you? Then
I can't lie, he's got to keep it moving. I love Emery, but if I was him, he'd have to keep it moving, yeah. Who we bring in is another case and another story, but I'd probably have to, simply because Champions League is there. I've given you money and I've not seen it.
Lee, you're Stan.
Do I have to be Stan? Can I be Josh?
Well, Stan's missing a bit of hair.
I don't wear a toupee, you know what I mean? So,
right? Does he go at the end of the season if he don't get top 4?
Yeah. Simple.
Because
you're asking the club. You're asking the club.
You're ruthless.
Oh, yeah, but you're asking the club. you're asking us as to and the manager at this moment to be ruthless with people like Mustafi, people like that are not quite Mkhitaryan want them out. You've got to be ruthless for the players. So I feel you've got to be ruthless for the manager. Listen, I don't want him sacked, because I want him to be in the top 4, and then I think that he can go on and do something else. But his objective now is to get top 4. The tools have been put there. You know, I think last season was a learning curve to learn the Premier League, which he's now learnt. Also, there was the excuse, and everybody, you know, was going on about that. Well, he hasn't got the players, he hasn't got the tools, can't do this with it. He has got the players now. We've always said he needs a wide player. He's got a wide player in Pepe. He's got, you know what I mean, £72 million worth of it. You know, he's got the central defender. You know, great bit of business, whoever it was, whether it was Emery or the club, to bring in Ceballos. That's a great move for a year, to get him into the top 4. Now, whether he does that with those players or not, I think has got to have some sort of bearing on his job. I think the one thing that's really annoyed me about being an Arsenal fan over the years is the failure that we've had where there's been no accountability. And we've got that now. You know, big clubs. You know, I remember going back a few years ago, Real Madrid manager won the Champions League, but because he didn't win the league, he was sacked. I know that's not the way to go, but we've got to start getting up to a big club mentality. if they, you know, Chelsea have done it over here. I don't want us to go down that route of Chelsea and everything like that. But there has to come a time where accountability has to be taken into account, and they've said to, and if it was me, I'd say, look, I've given you the tools now, deliver top 4. Now, if you deliver top 4, I'm going to give you a load more stuff here and another contract so you can push us on. And I think that if he gets that, under that sort of pressure, Robbie, he could go on and do really well for us in the Champions League and beyond.
I think that it depends a little bit on, if we do miss out on top 4, how we miss out on top 4. So if we miss out on top 4 by 2 points, then you have to, he still maybe should be sacked, but you consider that as well. I think it's not just about the money he's been given to bring in the players that he's brought in this summer. I think the expectation is also looking at the competition. So we're competing with United, really. I don't see Chelsea as a viable option for top 4. So it's us and United. Look at United's spine, look at their squad, look at our spine and our squad. There's not much of a difference there. So if we lost out to United, then I would be disappointed only because we've got a better manager. Squad-wise, I think it's marginal. Look at their spine: De Gea, Maguire, Lindelof, Pogba, I don't know, McTominay, and Rashford, Martial, whatever. That's their spine. That's a very good spine. Our spine: Leno, Luiz, Socrates. I'm taking their 2 centre backs over our 2. I'm sorry. In the middle, Torreira and Xhaka. Pogba and McTominay, that's a toss-up between those 2 duos. And up top, you've got Aubameyang and Lacazette. That's a no-brainer. So squad-wise, I think it's quite close. But I think he should be judged on if he misses out on top 4, and I think we will get top 4. And I've not felt that for about 8 years. It's the first time in about 8 years I've genuinely thought.
8 years?
Yeah, I just haven't seen it. But I think we will get it this year. But if he doesn't, you have to factor in how he missed out. If he missed out by 10 points, he's got to go. You miss out by 2 points, and we've gone toe to toe.
Or a run like last season, Jordan. Like
Or the collapse at the end.
Yeah,
that can't happen again. That cannot happen again.
That has put doubts in my mind about you, Emery. I have to say that 8 games at the end of the season. You know, we should have
relegation form,
man.
Yeah, we should have got. But in saying that, he's turned it around with the last, couple of games. You know, people keep saying that
you'd expect us to beat
Burnley,
and the pressure's not on
you'd
now.
expect us to beat Newcastle as well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but we have failed against those teams in the past. You know, not Burnley, but we have not. I remember a couple of years ago,
lost to Newcastle.
We lost to Newcastle. Yeah. So, you know, give credit where credit's due. You can only beat what's in front of you, and you know, as you say, like 8 games when we didn't win a game, and then all of a sudden we beat Burnley at the back of last season, and we've kicked on this season. There definitely seems to be a little bit something better for us to look forward to. But yeah, there are doubts with that sort of run. You know, I get exactly what Jordan's saying here. It depends where we finish. I also think, come on, you know, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm fed up with them down the road coming above us, Robbie. I'm fed up with it. And that has got to be taken into account now. I want to see us getting our bragging rights back as well.
Final question for you guys as we just end it, right? Just a yes or no to this, yeah? Are the Kroenkes the guys that can take us to the promised land, which is win the league within the next 5 years, say? I'll be realistic. Can we win the league in the next 5 years under the Kroenkes' ownership? Jordan?
No.
No.
No. I think we need a better manager than Emre, first of all. I think he can get us in that top 4 bracket. I'm not sure he's a Premier League.
Not about the manager. I'm saying the ownership.
But that factors in because the owners are appointed.
Yeah, but all of that will be their decisions to make. Will they, the Kroenkes, deliver that in the next 5 years, deliver us a league title?
No. And again, I'm going on the last 5 years I'm judging it on what I've seen the last 5 years to make me think, can these guys really get us to the top? And no.
All right.
I'm going to be optimistic and say yes. Yeah, I'm going to say, I believe he can.
That's why you're deluded.
Pep's not going anywhere for another couple of years. The next 2 years are a write-off.
Listen,
do you know what I mean? So
their team in America, LA Rams, Super Bowl finalists.
Because everyone knocks it.
Did they win it, Robbie?
They didn't win it.
There you go.
But it's a very, to come from nowhere to get to the Super Bowl final.
Terrific. Please.
So you're saying yes?
I'm going to be optimistic and say yeah.
The Kroenkes.
Listen, I'm going to say no, and the reason is I don't think many chairmans will get above Man City in the next 5 years, Robbie. I think that they're, going to dominate this league for a very, very long time. But what I will say is, under the Kroenkes, I think that we will challenge.
Yes, and that's important.
That's what I'm saying.
At least
yes
be
to.
in the mix. we don't think we've got a divine right to win the Premier League, but as a so-called big club, we should be in the mix. If they can in the next 5 years make us challenge, that will be enough for me, and then we take it from there.
So I
Okay, brilliant.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
say, you say?
I think they're challenged. I honestly don't think any team. I think Man City will win the league for the next 5 years.
Every year?
I think they will. Yeah.
I hope not. Right. So listen, what do you guys think? We would love to hear your opinions. It really seems like the tide has turned a bit on the Kroenkes. You know what I mean? As I said, I'd done this supporters club, but a few months ago, it would have been pointless, right? People would have been on the Kroenkes case, but now you're hearing that the guys are saying that under the Kroenkes, they feel that we can even challenge to win the league over the next 5 years. I really would like to get your opinions. Leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching the Supporters Club. It will return with your normal host, Turkish, very soon. So look out for that. And let's hope we can get a win at Anfield.